I find myself in a rather unique and compelling situation, for I am the illegitimate daughter of none other than Arthur Vane, the eminent and influential patriarch of the most formidable pharmaceutical company in the entire world. It is a truth that has remained concealed from the prying eyes of society, even from my own knowledge, until the day fate saw fit to deliver a golden envelope into my hands, forever altering the course of my life. The circumstances of my birth are shrouded in secrecy and intrigue. My mother, a humble maid in the Vane household, became entangled in a forbidden affair with Arthur Vane himself, resulting in my existence as a living testament to their love. This clandestine union was a well-kept secret, hidden away from the prying eyes of the world, and even from my own understanding, until the arrival of that fateful golden envelope. Within the confines of this envelope lay an invitation, a beckoning from destiny, offering me the opportunity to prove my worthiness in inheriting the vast empire of Vane Pharmaceuticals. It was a chance to step out from the shadows of my obscured lineage and lay claim to a legacy that had always been within my blood, waiting to be recognized and embraced. The weight of this invitation, both literally and figuratively, was immense. It carried with it the hopes and dreams of countless individuals who had dedicated their lives to the success and prosperity of Vane Pharmaceuticals. It was an invitation that demanded my utmost dedication, intellect, and resilience, for the road to inheritance would not be an easy one to traverse. With this golden opportunity before me, I find myself at a crossroads, torn between the life I have known and the potential that lies just beyond my reach. The path to proving myself worthy of inheriting Vane Pharmaceuticals is fraught with challenges, both internal and external. It requires me to delve deep into the annals of my own identity, to unearth the strength and determination that courses through my veins. I am acutely aware of the responsibility that comes with being the heir to such a powerful and influential company. The decisions I make will not only shape the future of Vane Pharmaceuticals but also have far-reaching consequences for the countless lives that depend on its products and innovations. It is a weighty burden, one that I am prepared to shoulder with unwavering resolve and a commitment to integrity. The golden envelope was not merely an invitation, it was a catalyst for my transformation. It awakened within me a sense of purpose and a drive to prove myself in the face of adversity. With every step I take, I am inching closer to my destiny, ready to claim my rightful place as the successor to the throne of Vane Pharmaceuticals. As I made my way towards the mansion, my eyes were immediately drawn to its imposing presence. The sprawling Gothic architecture seemed to loom over the cliffside, casting an eerie shadow that sent shivers down my spine. The mansion had an air of mystery and darkness, as if it held secrets within its walls. As I stepped through the grand entrance, I was met with a sight that mirrored the atmosphere outside. The family had gathered, their faces a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. It had been years since they had all been together, and the tension in the room was palpable. I glanced around, taking in the sight of my two half-brothers, half-sister, cousins, and my father's daughter-in-law. Their puzzled frowns were etched across their faces, as they tried to make sense of my presence. It was clear that they had no idea who I was or why I was there. The room was filled with a sense of anticipation, as if everyone was waiting for an explanation. I took a deep breath and mustered the courage to address the confused faces staring back at me. "Dear family," I began, my voice steady but tinged with nervousness. "I understand that my sudden appearance has caught you all off guard. I too have been searching for answers, for a sense of belonging. And it is here, in this very room, that I hope to find the truth." Silence hung heavy in the air as my words sank in. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the walls, adding to the sense of mystery that enveloped us all. "I am the missing puzzle piece, the forgotten link that connects us all," I continued, my voice growing stronger with each word. "I am the result of a past that was hidden away, a secret that has finally come to light." Gasps filled the room as the weight of my words settled upon them. Eyes widened with realization, and the atmosphere shifted from suspicion to curiosity. The family members exchanged glances, their expressions transforming from confusion to a newfound understanding. I took a step forward, closer to the center of attention. I come here not to disrupt or cause chaos, but to seek the truth and perhaps find a place where I truly belong. I have spent years searching for my roots, and it is with hope in my heart that I stand before you today. As I spoke, I saw a flicker of recognition in their eyes. The pieces of the puzzle were slowly coming together, and the tension in the room began to dissipate. The family, united by blood, began to see the resemblance, the shared traits that connected us all. In that moment, the mansion seemed to lose its brooding aura, and the judgmental eyes of the windows transformed into windows of understanding. The family, once strangers to me, now held a glimmer of acceptance in their gaze. And so, with the weight of the past slowly unraveling, I embarked on a journey of discovery and connection. The mansion, once a symbol of mystery and isolation, became a place where the threads of our shared history could be woven together. Together, we would unravel the secrets and embrace the ties that bound us, forging a new chapter in our intertwined lives. From the very beginning, a thick blanket of tension hung in the air, engulfing the room in an almost palpable manner. It was an atmosphere that seemed to weigh heavily on everyone present, intensified by the frail and pallid figure of my father. His voice, once commanding and authoritative, now trembled like a mere whisper, a shadow of its former power. In a hushed tone, he explained the rules of the game that would shape our lives for the foreseeable future. Each and every day, we would be thrown into a macabre and deadly competition, designed to test not only our intelligence and strength, but also our ruthlessness and ability to make logical decisions under the most intense pressure imaginable. It was a grim realization that only one of us would emerge as the successor, while the rest would fall victim to the clutches of an insidious serial killer, lurking in the shadows, waiting to pick us off one by one. The weight of this revelation settled upon us like an impenetrable fog, as we grappled with the knowledge that our own survival would depend on outwitting and outmaneuvering our own family members. The once familiar faces now wore masks of determination mixed with fear, as we contemplated the darkness that lay ahead. Knowing of the danger, we each decided to play the game. Greed was my family's biggest motivator, and not truly believing my father would put us in actual danger. For me, it wasn't about the money. It was about learning my family's hidden secrets and getting back at him for throwing my mother away like trash and keeping me as a dirty little secret. My intuition also told me that once we stepped inside, my father wasn't letting us out until he crowned a successor to his throne. The sun rose on the morning of the first game, casting its golden rays on a room that held a chilling secret. As we were led into this enigmatic space, our eyes widened in awe and trepidation as we beheld the intricate maze of mirrors that seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. It was like stepping into a surreal dreamscape, where reality and illusion merged into one. The objective of the game appeared deceptively simple: find the exit. Little did we know, however, that this seemingly innocent task was laced with danger and peril. For within those mirrors lay a sinister twist, deadly traps cunningly rigged to ensnare unsuspecting souls. It was a diabolical scheme, designed to test not only our wits but our very will to survive. The air was thick with anticipation as we cautiously ventured into the labyrinth of mirrors. The eerie silence was broken only by the soft shuffling of feet and the occasional nervous whisper. Each step we took was fraught with uncertainty, the reflection of our own apprehension staring back at us from the countless mirrors that surrounded us. Suddenly, the tranquility was shattered by a blood-curdling scream that pierced through the air. It was a sound that sent chills down our spines and sent our hearts racing. We turned in horror to witness the unimaginable. My cousin Julian, his body mangled and broken, stumbled out from one of the mirrors. Shards of glass were embedded deep into his flesh, causing rivulets of blood to flow freely. In a matter of moments, the life drained from his eyes, leaving behind only a lifeless shell. The shock and horror that gripped us in that moment were palpable. The realization washed over us like a tidal wave. This was not a mere game, but a brutal fight for survival. The stakes had been raised to an unimaginable level, and the consequences of failure were now etched in our minds with a chilling clarity. Fear and determination mingled within us as we pressed on, our resolve strengthened by the sacrifice of our fallen comrade. Each mirror we encountered became a potential death trap, every step forward a gamble with our lives. We were no longer participants in a game, we had become warriors in a battle against the unknown. Time seemed to blur as we navigated the treacherous maze, our senses heightened and our instincts sharpened. The mirrors taunted us, reflecting our own vulnerability and mortality. Yet, we refused to succumb to despair. Our will to survive burned bright, fueled by the indomitable spirit that resides within every human being faced with adversity. As we fought against the odds, we discovered hidden strengths within ourselves that we never knew existed. The mind became a weapon, capable of deciphering the intricate patterns of the mirrors and anticipating the traps that lay in wait. We relied on each other, forming an unbreakable bond forged in the crucible of danger and desperation. Hours turned into an eternity, but finally, we saw a glimmer of hope. The exit, bathed in a faint ray of light, beckoned to us like a beacon of salvation. We sprinted towards it, our hearts pounding with a mixture of relief and exhaustion. And as we emerged from the maze of mirrors, we knew that we had emerged not only as survivors, but as victors over the malevolence that had sought to claim our lives. The first game had forever changed us. It had stripped away our innocence and replaced it with a steely resolve. We had learned the hard way that life is not always fair, that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. But more importantly, we had discovered the strength within ourselves to face adversity head-on, to fight for our lives, and to never take anything for granted. And so, as we walked away from that room of mirrors, forever etched in our memories, we carried with us the scars of our ordeal and the knowledge that survival is not just a game, but a testament to the human spirit. Our harrowing journey through the treacherous maze did not come without its toll. We emerged battered and bruised, nursing fresh wounds that added to our already existing injuries. As the darkness descended upon the sprawling mansion, its once elegant facade transformed into a sinister and haunting labyrinth. The shadows danced eerily, moving in unnatural ways that defied logic, while whispers, carried by unseen forces, echoed ominously through the desolate halls. Every fiber of my being was acutely aware of the watchful eyes that lurked in every corner, their presence palpable and suffocating. The air itself seemed to carry a malevolent aura, thick with malice and an unspoken promise of impending doom. It was as if the very essence of the mansion had been tainted by an ancient and sinister presence, a force that reveled in our fear and uncertainty. But then, the unthinkable happened. In the waning light, as the moon cast its ghostly glow upon the mansion's interior, tragedy struck with a vengeance. It was in the library, a place once filled with knowledge and tranquility, that we discovered the lifeless body of my half-sister, Emily. The sight that greeted us was a grotesque tableau of horror, her once serene face twisted into a contorted mask of unimaginable terror. The shock and grief that enveloped us were overpowering, but they were not the only emotions that took hold. Suspicion, like a venomous serpent, slithered its way into our hearts, festering and growing with every passing moment. The question that haunted our collective conscience was as chilling as the haunted mansion itself. Who among us was the killer? In the face of such uncertainty, trust became a scarce and precious commodity. Each passing interaction was tainted with doubt, every glance and word scrutinized for hidden meaning. The once tight-knit camaraderie that had bound us together now frayed at the edges, threatening to unravel completely. Amidst this web of suspicion and fear, we were left to navigate the treacherous labyrinth of our own emotions. Each of us became both detective and suspect, searching for clues and answers that seemed to elude our grasp. The mansion, once a sanctuary, became a prison of our own making, trapping us within its walls as we desperately sought to unravel the truth. As the days turned into nights and the nights bled into days, the weight of our collective guilt and paranoia grew heavier. The once vibrant and lively mansion now stood as a grim reminder of our own mortality, a chilling reminder that the killer among us was still at large. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope remained, a flickering flame that refused to be extinguished. With every passing moment, we became more determined to unmask the killer, to expose the darkness that had tainted our lives. It was a battle against time, against our own demons, and against the malevolence that lurked in the shadows. Our lives hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of a precipice, as we delved deeper into the twisted secrets that the mansion held. And so, we pressed on, driven by a mixture of fear, desperation, and an unyielding thirst for justice. The killer may have thought they had escaped our grasp, but little did they know that we were not willing to surrender to the darkness so easily. For within our hearts burned a fire that refused to be extinguished, a flame that would guide us through the haunted labyrinth until the truth was brought to light. The killer may have thought they could hide among us, but they underestimated the strength of our resolve. With each passing hour, our determination grew, and the walls of suspicion that had divided us began to crumble. United in our quest for justice, we became a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. The mansion may have been our prison, but it would also become the stage upon which the final act would unfold. The killer's days of anonymity were numbered, and as the truth unraveled, the mansion would bear witness to their unmasking. The tension in the air was palpable, a sense of anticipation mingled with a touch of dread, as we prepared to confront the evil that had plagued our lives. It was not just the killer's identity that would be revealed, but also the strength of our bonds and the resilience of the human spirit. As we stood together, facing the shadows that threatened to consume us, we discovered that even in the darkest of times, there is hope. And with hope as our guiding light, we would conquer the haunted labyrinth and emerge victorious, forever changed but stronger than before. The passage of time became a hazy, indistinguishable blur as the days melded together, each one more nightmarish than the previous. The twisted games we were forced to endure tested our limits of fear and desperation. One particular game stands out in my memory, where we found ourselves suspended precariously over a pit of menacing spikes, our survival dependent on solving a mind-bending puzzle. The stakes were high, and the pressure was palpable. Yet, tragically, my half-brother Henry faltered, unable to think quickly enough to secure his escape. The echoes of his anguished screams reverberated in my mind, haunting my dreams that very night. But the horrors did not cease there. Another diabolical game forced us to confront a tank filled with corrosive acid, the key to our survival submerged within its treacherous depths. The loss we suffered this time was that of my dear cousin Lydia, who bravely sacrificed herself in the pursuit of our freedom. The weight of these losses began to take its toll on the remaining survivors, pushing us ever closer to the precipice of our sanity. We could feel it slipping through our fingers like grains of sand, our minds teetering on the edge of madness. The relentless onslaught of these torturous games wore down our spirits, leaving us perpetually on edge, our nerves frayed to their very limits. We were trapped in a never-ending nightmare, our hopes for escape dwindling with each passing day. The games were not just physical trials, but psychological torment as well, designed to break us down mentally as much as they did physically. The relentless fear and anguish became our constant companions, as we struggled to maintain our composure amidst the chaos. Yet, even in the face of such unimaginable horror, a flicker of determination burned within each of us. We refused to succumb completely to the darkness that threatened to consume us. Instead, we clung to the bonds of camaraderie that had formed in the crucible of our shared suffering. Together, we found solace and strength in one another, drawing courage from the knowledge that we were not alone in this hellish ordeal. Our resilience was tested time and time again. We faced countless trials, each more sadistic than the last. But with every loss, every sacrifice, we grew stronger. We learned to adapt, to strategize, and to find the slivers of hope amidst the despair. We discovered hidden reserves of courage and determination within ourselves that we never knew existed. And so, we continued to fight, to push forward, even as the world around us crumbled. We refused to let the darkness extinguish our spirits, for we knew that our survival depended on it. Each day brought us closer to the ultimate reckoning, where we would either emerge victorious or succumb to the malevolent forces that sought to destroy us. In the end, it was not just our physical strength that carried us through, but our indomitable will to survive. We emerged from the depths of this nightmarish ordeal forever changed, scarred but not broken. The memories of those we lost will forever haunt us, their sacrifices etched into our souls. But we will carry on, forever grateful for the bonds forged in the crucible of our shared suffering, and forever mindful of the fragility of our sanity in the face of unimaginable terror. As the days dragged on in the eerie mansion, it felt as if the very walls were closing in on us, breathing with a sinister life of their own. The air was thick with paranoia, seeping into our veins and clouding our minds. Suspicion became our constant companion, as we turned on each other, each of us suspecting the other of being the cold-blooded killer lurking among us. Trust became a luxury none of us could afford in this twisted game of survival. But amidst the chaos and carnage, I found myself growing stronger, fueled by a newfound determination. I knew deep down that I had to survive, not just for the sake of my own life, but to uncover the chilling truth that lay hidden within the walls of this malevolent mansion. The penultimate night was a test of our resilience, pushing us to the very edge of our sanity. Only 4 of us remained: my father's daughter-in-law, my enigmatic cousin Robert, my half-brother William, and myself. It was a macabre version of musical chairs, where instead of laughter and merriment, the stakes were life and death. Each time the haunting melody ceased, one of us would be mercilessly crushed under the weight of a descending ceiling. The tension was palpable, suffocating us as we danced with fate. William, with his hopeful eyes, didn't make it through the night, leaving the 3 of us to face the impending darkness. As the sun rose on the final day, a sense of dread hung heavy in the air. The killer had made their presence known once again, leaving behind a horrifying scene that would forever be etched in my memory. Robert, my cousin with his quick wit and infectious laughter, met a gruesome end. His throat had been ruthlessly slit, the crimson rivers of his life force painting a chilling masterpiece on the once pristine walls of the dining room. With each life that was taken, the urgency to survive intensified within me. The mansion, with its twisted corridors and hidden secrets, seemed to taunt me, daring me to uncover the truth that lay dormant within its sinister depths. I knew that time was running out, and there was no room for hesitation. The final showdown awaited, as I stood alone amidst the haunting echoes of the mansion. The killer lurked in the shadows, their identity still shrouded in mystery. My heart raced, my senses heightened, as I prepared myself for the ultimate battle for survival. I would not rest until the truth was revealed, until justice prevailed in this house of horrors. Bracing myself, I took a deep breath, my determination unwavering. I would face the darkness head-on, armed with the strength that had been forged within me. The mansion may have closed in around us, but it would not break me. I would emerge from this nightmare, scarred but undefeated, with the truth in my grasp. The walls may breathe with a life of their own, but I would prove that my will to survive was stronger. As the final game approached, I found myself in a chilling predicament. It was just the 2 of us left, and the night held an ominous weight. Determined to survive, I hastily barricaded myself within the confines of my room, clutching a makeshift weapon tightly in my trembling hands. Every nerve in my body was on edge as I strained my ears, listening intently for any sign of danger. Footsteps resonated through the eerie silence, each deliberate and slow, growing louder and closer with every passing moment. My heart pounded in my chest, threatening to burst out of the confines of my rib cage. The door, worn and weathered, creaked open, revealing a figure that sent shivers down my spine. It was her. The killer. My father's daughter-in-law, driven by a mysterious motive, lunged at me with a ferocity that sent shockwaves through my entire being. Yet, I refused to succumb to fear. I had prepared for this moment, mentally and physically, and I was ready to fight for my life. A chaotic struggle ensued, our bodies intertwining in a desperate dance of survival. Adrenaline coursed through my veins, heightening my senses and sharpening my reflexes. In a moment of frenzied desperation, I managed to land a well-placed blow, piercing her flesh with the makeshift weapon. The shock registered in her wide eyes as she stumbled backward, collapsing onto the cold, unforgiving floor. As her life force slowly ebbed away, she uttered a single word, a name that sent a jolt of confusion through my already overwhelmed mind. Father. The weight of her words hung heavily in the air, leaving me with more questions than answers. What did she mean? What was the connection between her and my father? In the wake of the intense encounter, I couldn't help but feel a mixture of relief and sorrow. Though I had survived this deadly confrontation, the revelation of her connection to my family only deepened the mystery surrounding the final game. What secrets did my father hold? And what role did he play in the sinister game that had claimed the lives of so many? With the weight of the night still heavy on my shoulders, I steeled myself for what lay ahead. The final game loomed, but I was prepared. The secrets of my family's past would no longer remain buried, for I would unearth them one by one, determined to bring an end to this twisted game of life and death. The name whispered in the dying breath of my father's daughter-in-law would be my guide, leading me closer to the truth, and ultimately, to victory. A chill ran down my spine as fear gripped me, causing my blood to run cold. Without hesitation, I sprinted towards my father's room, my mind racing to piece together the puzzle that had been unfolding before my eyes. It was a shocking revelation that he wasn't on the brink of death as we had all believed. No, he was the mastermind behind it all. Every move, every twist and turn, had been orchestrated by him. At that moment, the realization hit me like a thunderbolt. The true killer, the one responsible for the chaos and destruction that had plagued our lives, was merely a pawn in his twisted game. And now, it seemed, it was my turn to face the final test. My father had set this all up to see if I possessed the same ruthless nature that he possessed, if I was truly worthy of inheriting his legacy. As I confronted him, his frail facade began to crumble, exposing the monster that lay beneath. The twisted smile on his lips sent shivers down my spine, confirming what I had suspected all along. He confessed his sinister motives, reveling in the power he held over me, his own flesh and blood. It was a chilling revelation that he had wanted to witness firsthand if I could be as ruthless and cunning as he was. But I refused to succumb to his wickedness. In a final act of defiance, I reached into my pocket and pulled out a vial I had taken from the secret laboratory. The contents within were deadly, a potent poison that would bring about his demise. As I watched him gasp for breath, struggling against the poison coursing through his veins, I leaned in close and whispered, "The same blood that runs through your veins, runs through mine." And with those words, he took his last breath. The monster that had haunted our lives was finally laid to rest. As his lifeless body lay before me, a sense of both relief and sadness washed over me. The burden of his twisted legacy was now mine to bear. In the days that followed, I took control of the family company, stepping into the role that had long been destined for me. It was a bittersweet victory, knowing that I had triumphed over the darkness that had consumed my father's soul. But it was also a reminder of the choices I had made, the lengths I had gone to ensure my survival and protect those I loved. As I sat in the grand office that had once belonged to him, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had led me here. The path had been treacherous, filled with deceit and treachery. But in the end, I had emerged stronger, determined to forge my own legacy, one that would be marked by compassion and justice. The legacy of my father would forever be tainted by his twisted games and ruthless nature. But I would strive to ensure that my own legacy would be one of integrity and fairness. The company was now mine, a symbol of the strength and resilience that had carried me through the darkest of times. And as I looked out at the city's skyline, a sense of hope filled my heart. I knew that I had the power to make a difference, to build a future that was free from the shadows of the past. My father's reign of darkness had come to an end, and it was now my turn to shape the world in a different, more compassionate light. As I found myself seated in the dimly lit study, clutching the deed tightly in my trembling hands, a sudden movement caught my eye. A small, delicate envelope slipped from its hiding place on the desk and gracefully floated down to the floor. My curiosity piqued. I reached down to retrieve the unexpected missive, and as I unfolded the letter, my heart skipped a beat. The words penned by my mother revealed a shocking truth that shook the very foundation of my existence. It was a revelation that turned my world upside down, shattering the illusion of my lineage. Arthur Vane, the man I had believed to be my father all these years, was not my true progenitor. Instead, it was his late brother, a man long gone from this world. The weight of this revelation bore down upon me, threatening to crush my spirit. In that moment, I felt a profound sense of loss and confusion. I had always prided myself on being an heir to the Vane family name, a rightful successor to its legacy. But now, I discovered that my claim to the family fortune was nothing more than a facade, a carefully constructed illusion. Despite the gravity of this revelation, a sense of relief began to wash over me. The burden of pretending to be someone I was not, of upholding a charade that had been thrust upon me, was finally lifted. In this newfound truth, I was liberated from the expectations and obligations that came with being an heir. But as the weight of my secret settled upon my shoulders, a sense of melancholy mingled with my relief. I realized that I held the key to a truth that no one else knew. The knowledge of my illegitimacy, of my true parentage, would die with me. The Vane family would remain oblivious to the deception that had been woven into their lineage, forever unaware of the true nature of their supposed heir. In this twisted turn of events, I found a strange sense of victory. The power to control the narrative, to keep the truth hidden, was now firmly in my grasp. I had won the ultimate game of deception, emerging as the sole guardian of this family secret. As I carefully folded the letter back into its original form, I made a silent vow to myself. I would carry this secret to my grave, ensuring that the truth of my parentage would never tarnish the memory of those who came before me. The legacy of the Vane family would remain intact, untainted by the knowledge of my true origins. In that quiet study, I embraced the duality of my existence. I was both an imposter and a protector, a participant in a grand charade and the sole custodian of its hidden truth. And as I left the study, the weight of my secret pressed upon me, reminding me that sometimes, the greatest victories are not won in the open, but rather in the depths of our own hearts.
Your support means everything to us. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen for more shadowy delights.